Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. It's the 26th day of December. We've got New Year's coming up here at the end of this week. Holy cow, I can't believe 2017 is almost here.
I'm ready for 2016 to be done.
Me too. I'm also I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. Our guest today, I actually goofed up. A couple weeks ago, I said we were going to be visiting with Mariam Pare, and I was wrong. I'm actually talking to her today. She's the mouth painter from the MFPA, and we're going to be chatting about the Mouth Painters Association and what they do. It's a really cool concept. So I'm going to be visiting with Mariam later in the program. German guy was on the night shift, and he got kind of bored, so he called one of those erotic, 900 numbers or whatever they are, to talk to a hot housewife. Guess who it turned out to be?
Who?
His own wife. How would you like to find out that's what you've been doing at night? Wait a minute. Why were you calling me?
Yeah.
So that's what you've been doing at night? I think that.
And you like pina coladas?
I like pina coladas. Yeah, it's a song, isn't it? All right. Coming up, some special stuff on this Monday. We'll tell you all about it in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today's a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Monday, December the 26th. Today is Boxing Day in Canada. It is National Candy Cane Day today. It is National Thank You Note Day today, and it's National Whiner's Day today. So if you're a whiner, hey, good news. Today is your day, but don't complain about it. It's Whiner's Day.
Okay.
Nobody's gonna care. Candy Cane Day is today. Why would that be today? You'd think that would have been, I don't know, yesterday.
You have to get rid of those candy canes.
There you go. I suppose after today, you can't really hand those out at
those out at like
Halloween.
Halloween.
Wait a minute.
Although you could.
Is this last year's candy cane? No, I bought these today. All right, coming up, we got some cool stories on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This is my favorite time of year. The lights, the fun parties, and the family get-togethers. Many of us have boxes of home videos capturing these memories. But sadly, these memories are fading away because the videotape was not the best format. My friend CJ has a business called Tape It Up Reproductions. They transfer your precious memories to a digital format with the option to enhance the audio and the video to make them look and sound better than ever. His website is tapingitup.com, or you can call or text 412-766-1679.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. A man was reunited with his lost puppy dog at a pet adoption event. This is cool. Daisy the dog arrived in Florida at Jacksonville's animal shelter around Thanksgiving as a stray. Daisy's owner has been searching for her for weeks, and a family member was goofing around. Oh, no, they left the gate open. That's how Daisy got away. But then the babysitter for the family is the one that was dinking around on the internet, and they were looking at pictures of dogs, and she's like, wait a minute, that's Daisy.
Aww.
She saw Daisy's photo, and she saw that Daisy was going to be part of this adoption event, so she reached out right away and told Daisy's former family, and the dad rushed to the event just in the nick of time to rescue her. How cool is that?
That's very cool.
How sad would it have been if he got there just in time to see her driving away in a car, her little paw waving at him? That would have been really sad.
That would have been sad.
That would have been awful. But this was really nice. Reunited at the puppy shelter. So that is
and
just
it feels so good.
Yeah, reunited, and it
feels so good.
That's what it was, yeah. So good stuff right there. And kids, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Did I say that funny?
On drugs?
I think that's what I...
On drugs?
On drugs. That's what I meant to say. Alexandria, Alabama. Police there found hundreds of dollars in a truck driven by a 35-year-old. Accused her of stealing the money from a youth baseball concession stand.
Wow.
She knew she needed an alibi, and she needed it quick. The quick thinking, but not so bright Tracy said, that's not money from there. I earned that the legal way by selling drugs. She later set the record straight and was charged with second-degree burglary for theft of property. So Her brain was on drugs, but the money was stolen
Clearly.
from that baseball park. That's too bad. That's really sad. Coming up, we have your moment of duh. That is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now, your moment of duh. The good news is, Heidi, it's not just Americans that are knuckleheads. This one comes from the Ukraine.
Ah,
The Ukraine.
We don't get stories from the Ukraine very often.
Well, buckle up, Buttercup. Here's a good one. In the Ukraine, a man robbed a store, making off with about $200. 2 blocks away, he took off his pants and took off running again. Police caught the man,
Okay.
and they said, why did you leave your pants back there? And he said, well, losing my pants was part of my disguise. And they're like, yeah, but now people were saying there's a man
naked
with no pants running through our
Yeah.
neighborhood, and it made it easier for us to catch you, not harder.
Wow.
Now, if he had different pants underneath, that might have worked. But, you know, if they're looking for a man in black pants and he's wearing khakis, that's a whole different thing than we were looking for a man in black pants. Well, we found the black pants, so now we're looking a man with no pants. So it doesn't work too hot. Coming up, we have your scoop of the day.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. Astronomers are puzzled by a blank spot in the universe that they say is 600 million trillion miles of nothing. 600
How would
million
they know
trillion.
that?
Well, because they looked and they said, what's over there? And they said, nothing. 600 million trillion miles of it.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot of
Million
nothing.
trillion. It sounds like
it's like
a
somebody
little kid in an
made it
argument.
up. Yeah, no, it's not. It's a million trillion miles. That's how many. I know what
ridiculous.
Get away from my telescope. Hey, a national poll indicates that 4 in 10 Americans say they are willing to give up some civil liberties to fight terrorism. Are you willing to give up civil
I'm not
liberties?
willing to give up any
I don't
of
think we
my
should-
civil liberties.
Yeah, we should be able to keep our liberties. I don't know about that. Driving with your pets can be a dangerous business. In a survey by the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety and Kurgo, a pet product company, 80% of respondents said they've driven with their pets in a variety of car trips, including day trips, local errands, and leisure trips to the pet store, to the dog park, and all that. But only 17% said they ever used any sort of pet restraint. So the AAA says they're causing distractions. Those dogs are. And that's just as distracting as talking on a cell phone or texting while driving. Well, our dog usually just steers for me while I'm texting. So just kidding. I don't really do that. When we take our dogs, we haven't put them in any sort of restraint. You hold them in the passenger seat. Does that count? No?
I will say it's very distracting, and they probably should be.
They should be. You know what was
Yeah.
really distracting? The other day, I pulled up to a stop sign. I'm not kidding. I think the dog waved at me. There was a dog on a lady's lap, and the dog had his hands on the steering wheel, and I'm at the stop sign or stop light next to her. So I look over and I see a dog with their hand, and it looked like the dog was driving. And the lady looked at me and I waved, and I could have swore the dog waved too. I was like, "Wait, that's a smart dog."
This one time, when I was in high school, I was driving with my dog Nuggy,
Yeah.
and we left our our house, and I turned the corner. I was turning right to head into town, and the dog, she was a fairly big dog. I mean, she's a tiny dog, but she weighed like 40 pounds. So she was a big
Well-fed.
dog. Yeah, very well fed.
Big boned.
Decided to jump from the passenger seat into my seat as I was turning right.
Not go well.
I jumped the curb, ended up in the middle of this guy's front lawn, and I'm honking the horn because the dog's on my lap, and I was in a weird situation, so I'm in the middle of his yard. The guy comes out his front door and looks, and I'm just like, I wave, and I just drove away.
Wow. So
they're very distracting.
Yeah,
You
I
should
can
not
see that.
drive with a dog
Let's-
unless they're in some sort of a carrier, because
that's
it's not good.
Good news. Maybe we should pass that along
At
to
least I
people.
didn't knock a tree down or something.
It could have been really bad. Hey, a new study shows that L.A. has the worst traffic in the nation. You know how bad it is? They don't even know, because the guy that did the study still hasn't gotten out of the traffic jam.
I
That's
see.
how bad it is. Hey, what do women do before a first date, aside from checking their makeup and clothes? Many are now checking their suitors on Facebook. Match.com says, a survey says over half of the women polled say, yeah, I check him out on Facebook before I go out with this guy. So if you're going out on like a blind date or whatnot, you do a little research. Do you do that kind of stuff, Heidi?
Well, you would.
Yeah.
Because
see if I
you can
catch
see what he looks like. You can see who his friends are.
Been married almost 17 years. You shouldn't be, back when I was dating, Facebook didn't exist yet back then. Hey, more turkey, less white bread and mashed potatoes, just in time for the holidays. Well, that was, I guess, the other day. They say a large study found that dieters should have higher protein like turkey and lower carbohydrates like stuffing.
Duh.
And that can help people drop some weight.
You think?
Yeah, apparently.
Stupid.
According to anthropologists, Americans' heads have gotten bigger in the last 150 years.
Huh.
So apparently I have a lot of genes floating around. In my family, we've got big heads. I mean, we got pretty good-sized noggins, don't we?
I was worried about having your child.
Like, oh.
She was born cesarean, fortunately.
Oh,
Only
no.
after I locked myself in a bathroom and insisted on it. But she was born cesarean.
You have a Charlie Brown kid coming out. Hey, if you like bacon and you like people and you want to date somebody, there's a new app called Sizzle. Oscar Mayer put it out. The goal is to help singles connect with other like-minded bacon lovers. I've got a link on our Facebook page for those of you who are
'Cause that's
single
necessary.
and, interested in all of that. Coming up in a bit, we've got some more fun stuff that's on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Radio advertising works. When it's done right, it works even better. There are many things you can do to get a better response, and shouting sale really isn't the best thing, believe it or not. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? If you're trying to get people to remember your company, consider a jingle. We work with one of the very best jingle companies in the business, and we'd love to use music to help you grow your company. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us today, Mariam Pare, and she is an artist. Now, when she was 20 years old, as an aspiring artist, she had a terrible accident, made her a quadriplegic, but she certainly did not give up. This is one of the most fascinating stories that I've ever seen, and we've got Mariam on the line right now. Mariam, how are you?
Hi, John. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being an inspiration to so many others. I watched a video of you doing some of your artwork, and that is absolutely fascinating. I can't do that, and even with the use of my hands, but you do this, a pencil in your mouth at first, and then there was a paintbrush. That is fascinating that you can do that.
Yes, John. Yes, I paint with my mouth, and I've been at it for a long time now.
Now, we're going to be talking today. You're with the MFPA, which I had not heard of before, but it's the association that you're working with, and it's the Mouth and Foot Painting Artists Association. Are there a lot of people that are in this organization like you?
Yes, John. The MFPA, or like you said, the Mouth and Foot Painting Artists, is a great association of artists that all paint as I do, either by holding the brush in their mouth or with their foot. And we're 800 artists worldwide, and I'm one of 75 artists, I believe, are in the United States, and we all make a living by having our artwork reproduced on a variety of products, greeting cards, Christmas cards, calendars, and yeah, it was an amazing thing that I even found this association of artists that were also paint in this very unique way that I do.
Now, the accident that you had, the awful event that happened in 1996, how long was it after that you started saying, I'm gonna move forward and continue doing what I love doing? Was it instantly, or did it take you a while to get to that?
Well, John, it's never easy when you have a life-changing injury like I had, and nobody expects to be the victim of gun violence, which is the thing that happened to me. So it was a very abrupt break in my life where I was going to school to be an artist at the time, and I just thought my life would carry on in that direction. So after losing the use of my hands, my paralysis actually affected my fine motor skills in my hands. I didn't think that I would ever be able to paint again. So when an occupational therapist showed me how to write my name with a pen in my mouth, I noticed that my handwriting was the same with my mouth as it once had been with my hand. I thought that it was like a light bulb went over my head. I said, hey, I can apply this to painting. So I found that I still could paint, but just in this very unique and different way. And from that moment on, I knew that I was going to keep practicing because I wasn't as good at first with my mouth. It almost took years to get as good as painting with my mouth as I once had with my hands. But it was worth all the hard work.
And the cool thing is, you're an inspiration to so many people now. And I don't think that, even if you were painting with your hands rather than with your mouth, I think you would be inspiring people because your artwork is absolutely beautiful. But when people get a chance to see this and say, she had this terrible thing happen and she decided to rise above that, and you could have very easily just said, woe is me, and, things are done. I don't get to do this anymore. But you chose to rise above it, and that is an inspiration to each and every person out there. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you for saying so, John. I do always want my artwork to stand for itself, but if somebody gets that much more extra enjoyment when they find out the painstakingly way that it was created, then that makes me feel amazing as well.
And I'm on your website right now, scrolling through the gallery and looking at the stuff, and I encourage everybody, if you've got a moment, I've got a link to this on our Facebook page to make it really easy, but you've got to check this artwork out. It is really cool. Now, some of the characters that I see painted here are famous people like Albert Einstein, and I see John Lennon and John Kennedy, and then there's some other people that I might not recognize on here. But what is it that? How do you decide when it comes to the subject matter? How do you choose what you're going to paint?
I'm one of those really eclectic artists. Whatever I'm interested in at the time, I'll paint. I'll do the traditional landscapes and the still lifes. And it wasn't until the last couple of years that I found I was avoiding portraits for years. And then I tried doing a portrait, and I found I had a knack for it. And now I love to do portraits. I had the wonderful privilege of painting Pierce Brosnan, who also owns one of my paintings, and Kathy Lee Gifford, who also owns one of my paintings. So I love the fact that people really enjoy my portraits and really capturing that one thing that encapsulates a person's personality in paint. Like, I feel that I really accomplish something great when I can achieve that in a painting.
That's really, really cool. Now let's talk a little bit about the MFPA. How long have you been involved in this association, the Mouth and Foot Painting Artists?
I found out about the MFPA back in 2006 when I first became a student member and I got a scholarship. Before that, I had no idea that there were other people painting the way that I do. And I forgot what your question was.
I was just wondering how long you've been a part of it, and do you know other members as well?
I do know other members, and ever since learning of the association, it's been great to have that camaraderie from other artists who paint the same way that I do, because like I said before that, John, I didn't know other people who painted this way, and there was not a lot of things that I could learn from the internet, or even I went to art school, and there was only so much that the professors can teach me in the realm of technique and brushstrokes, but having all these other artists to bounce technique off of and have that camaraderie is really priceless. And I've been with them for 10 years as a member and still going strong.
Well, thank you again for visiting with us today, and I really appreciate you taking the time to chat. Now, if somebody would like to see your work, they can see it on your website, MariamPare.com. And again, I've got a link to that to make it really, really easy, so you don't have to know how to spell it. Just go to our Facebook page. We'll get you there. But where else can they find your work, Mariam?
Well, also, I would really encourage people to go to the MFPA website, which is www.mfpausa.com. And they'll be so happy that they went and looked at the beautiful artwork that the talented mouth and foot painting artists create.
And I'm looking on that one right now. I clicked there while we were talking. There's some really cool work on here from others, too. This is a neat thing. And I love on your website, it says, MFPA is not a charity. And that's something that, I suppose you probably need to remind people that hey, we're working. We're doing what we love to do. This is not a charity.
That's right, John. Bringing that up, our motto is self-help, not pity. And, we're all professional artists making a living as anyone else does.
Well, and I can tell you right now, I'm looking at the site. I can see why you are doing as well as you're doing, because you've got some absolutely fascinating artwork here. I'm going to spend some time cruising around on this site. And, folks, if you've got time, I have a link, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. I'll make sure that I put the MFPAUSA.com on there as well. Mariam, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, everybody.
And again, Mariam Pare, and she's an artist, and we've got a link to her page. And if you'd like to go directly to the MFPA site, it is MFPAUSA.com. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
When is the last time you changed the air filter on your furnace? Now, don't be embarrassed. That happens to a bunch of us. The furnace filter should be changed often. This will help your heating and cooling system run more efficiently, and it'll even extend the life of your system. Now, there's an easy way to make it happen. Filter Easy, a new subscription service that delivers your size filter right to your door on the schedule you choose. It's easy. Filter Easy. One less thing to worry about. Learn about a special offer available now at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
71% of Americans don't know how to drive a stick shift. Do you know how to drive a stick shift, Heidi?
I know how. I am not very good at it,
Yeah.
but I learned in driver's ed.
I remember.
And as my driver's education instructor would confirm, I am not very good at it.
Not proficient.
No.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
12% of male drivers never use their turn signals.
That is true. You never use your
Hey,
turn.
12% of the time I do. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
4 out of 5 people sing in the car.
I sing
And I
in the
think
car.
that fifth person's lying.
I sing in the car. I sing
hum
in the
car.
office. I sing in the shower.
I do too. I sing all over the place. And then I have people saying, "Would you shut up in there?" I'm like, oh, didn't know you were in there. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
21% of American women would like to change their nose.
I would.
Would you?
I would.
I like
in
your
a
nose.
heartbeat, I would
I like
change
your-
my
no,
nose.
Come on, leave your nose.
No, my
I
nose
like
is
your nose.
awful.
God gave you a beautiful nose.
Whatever.
Couple of fun facts for you right there on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to radiolottopool.com and join today. Again, that website is radiolottopool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Are you a nail biter or are you a nail clipper?
A little bit of both, honestly.
I used to be a nail biter, and I haven't bit my nails in a long time. I'm a nail clipper now. And it's funny because the other day I was like doing this, and I was going to bite off a little thing that was hanging there, and I was like, I'm going to just clip that off because I don't want to go back to that. I was a nail biter for years. Medical experts are now no longer saying chewing your fingernails is bad, though. They're saying it's now a mental disorder. It's not a bad habit. It's a mental disorder.
You're mental.
Millions of people cannot quit biting their nails down to the quick, and that's a thing that classifies
Oh, I've
them
never been that bad.
as a full-fledged obsessive compulsive disorder. Psychiatric Association is the one that came out with that clarification. So now nail biting is now up there with other OCD habits like repetitive hand washing and hair pulling. The mental disease is characterized by unreasonable thoughts and fears that lead to such repetitive behavior. But don't fret if you know someone who occasionally nibbles on their nails. It's only worrisome if the action becomes destructive, including damaging your hands or triggering repetitive infections. As with hair pulling and skin picking, nail biting is not a disorder unless the impairment is distressing and meets certain clinical levels of severity. So there you go.
There you go.
I don't think I was ever like that bad, but
No.
now we know. Coming up in a bit, we're going to talk about boys and girls. Who's easier to raise? We're going to talk about that in a bit.
John and Heidi.
This is my favorite time of year. The lights, the fun parties, and the family get-togethers. Many of us have boxes of home videos capturing these memories. But sadly, these memories are fading away because the videotape was not the best format. My friend CJ has a business called Tape It Up Reproductions. They transfer your precious memories to a digital format with the option to enhance the audio and the video to make them look and sound better than ever. His website is tapingitup.com, or you can call or text 412-766-1679.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. For those of you that don't know this, my beautiful bride and I work together. This is my wife over here, my sweetheart. And we have a young man and a young lady in our household. We've got a boy and a girl. Who would you say was easier to raise, boys or girls?
The boy.
Boys? Well, it says boys are easier to raise than girls, right?
Yes.
That's what over half of us start out thinking, at least. A new survey discovered more than half of American couples want their first child to be a boy because they are, quote, less hard work, end quote. Really? Over half. Only 21% say, I've got my heart set on a daughter. So only 21%. And 32% have no preference. I think I would be in the no preference category. I wasn't saying, oh, man, we got to have a boy. Oh, man, we got to have a girl. I was like, whatever we have is what we have.
I wanted a girl first.
Did you?
But I had a boy, and and after having a boy and a girl, I can say the boy was easier to
Troy.
raise.
His name was Troy.
I'm just saying, I wasn't going to name names.
How many boys do you have? I mean, we got one. That's it.
I got 2 that I know of.
Wait, does it work for you? All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
1 in 3 Americans are constantly worried about money. Yeah, I think it's probably more like 2 in 3, or maybe even 3 in 3.
Everybody's worried
Recent
about
survey
money.
found we're still feeling nervous from the recent recession and housing crisis. We are in constant fear of losing what we have today. More people are worried about finances than death or losing a family member. Our main worries when it comes to money is living paycheck to paycheck and falling into serious debt. I can see that absolutely positively.
absolutely.
And for
Yeah.
those of you who are worried about money, I can relate. And here's the thing. You don't need to worry, because even the worrying, it's not going to help give you more money. So instead of worrying, think about something you could do to, fix it rather than worry about it. So there you go. Little advice from broke Uncle John. Coming up, we got some good news. That's on the way. And we're going to be talking about sleep before we get to it. That's on the way next.
John and Heidi.
This time of year, we celebrate with family and friends.
And sometimes that involves drinking.
If you're going to be celebrating, please have a designated driver.
I lost my cousins to a drunk driver. They were only 8 and 12 years old.
Their lives were cut short because the driver was drunk and made a terrible choice.
Make good choices. Have a designated driver.
If you or a loved one has a problem with drugs or alcohol, now may be a great time for the gift of sobriety.
You can call Keystone Treatment Center at 844-204-1055.
That's toll-free, 844-204-1055.
John and Heidi.
When you sleep, your brain goes into a cleaning frenzy. Did you know that? So like when you go to sleep, your brain starts mopping up all the gunk that builds up while you're awake and has the potential to cause Alzheimer's disease.
That must be why I have such a dirty mind. I don't sleep very well.
Nobody's been mopping up there. When you dream, something remarkable happens to your brain. At least it happens in mice. Scientists think that it happens in us, too. University of Rochester Medical Center, they led the study. They think there's good reason to believe it happens in humans. This could provide new clues to treating Alzheimer's disease and dementia and other mental disorders or mind disorders. In addition, they discovered that brain cells tend to shrink during sleep, which widens the space between the cells, and that allows waste to pass through that space more easily. Lead researcher Dr. Macon Neergaard explained that this is the same type of plumbing system that exists in dogs and baboons, which means it's logical to think that it also exists in humans. So why does the cleaning only happen during sleep? Your brain uses a lot of energy to flush out the gunk and the junk, so it's easier and more efficient to do this during sleep time when your brain is not being used for many other functions. So there you go. That's interesting. And I don't get a lot of sleep, so I wonder if does that mean I would have a better chance of losing my mind or a slighter chance of losing my mind? Or does that mean I've already lost my mind? One of those. Anyway, interesting stuff right there from the University of Rochester Medical Center. Coming up, we've got some good news, and that is on the way on The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of The John and Heidi Show is brought to you by The John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying The John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I think this is good news. Have you seen this video, Heidi, of this veteran? There's a 97-year-old World War II vet, and he won't stop running, and he's going to races all the time, almost every single week.
Aww.
I think it's really cool. He's 97.
This popped up on my newsfeed, but I did not watch it. I didn't have time to watch it.
It's on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And this was shared with me, and I thought it was really cool. He's out there running, and there's got to be something to do with his genetics because, this dude, I would never guess that he's 97. by
No.
looking at him. I guess it may be like 70.
But it's because he's fit.
Yeah, he
so-
is physically fit. And he's out running races all the time. He won't stop running because he's raising money for good causes, and he enjoys doing it, and he's having
Nice.
fun. He's like, why would I stop?
Yeah, that's
Leave
nice.
me alone. I'm not going to stop. You can check out this video at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And I want to say one more time, if you have some awesome stuff that you find online that you think, whoa, this is good news, I'd like to share that with John and Heidi. You can go to our page and then send a message to me with just a link to whatever it is. And we'll, if it's something that we feel is good news, we'll read it on the radio here as well. And if you want me to credit you, you can say that. If you don't want me to, say that as well. I'm always careful because I don't want to say, this is from so-and-so, from such and such, and then have their boss go, so is that what you do all day? I thought you were working in here. So anyway, time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Again, that video is at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.